What's going on YouTube? This is just going to be a quick set 7 overview as well as maybe my thoughts and feelings on the set so far, as public beta is now live. I was playing it almost all day today, and so I'll do my best to give you guys a good rundown of the good, the bad, and the ugly of set 7 so far. Now, it is set 7 Dragonlands, so as you should all know by now, it does include dragons. That's going to be the majority of the new units. They added every dragon-like unit from League of Legends, and then added some new or just basically reskinned Aurelion Sol, Galio, etc., and just put a different name on them. And then going forward, they're going to be tweaking the traits, new items, and new augments. They did keep augments going into set 7. I personally really liked augments in 6.5. It kind of gave you some direction in a lot of your roles, but we'll kind of see as they go forward how they continue to tweak it. Dragons are basically Colossus from set 6.5. They're going to take 2 spaces up. They get extra health. I believe it's 600 as the base right now, as well as they have some extra bonuses, whether it be AP or otherwise. The other thing to know with dragons is that all of them give a trait bonus of 3 to their top trait. So Shyvana gives 3 Ragewing. Aoshin gives 3 Tempest. Aurelion Sol gives 3 Astral. They're pretty strong because of that, right? And they create a lot more vertical compositions. You're trying to hit that 9, that 8, whatever it may be for the individual dragon's trait a lot more frequently. And so I think it's making it where you want to kind of get through to level 6 as soon as possible, right? You know, hit 6 on 3-2. And then I've been finding myself kind of just racing to hit 7 and 8 as quick as I can to find my Itis, my Aoshin, my Shyvana, what have you. And I think that might be something that I lean towards going forward, and it might be something that, you know, is more meta, is to try to go faster, but, you know, time will tell, right? Augment changes. Augments obviously stay. They change the delivery times. I think this is a positive overall. They made it so that instead of on 1-4, it's now 2-1. You have a one more round to determine, okay, do I want to go AP? Do I want to go AD? Did I get extra of Astrals, what have you? It gives you, I think, a little bit more room to figure out what you want to do early without taking a dead augment or an augment that just isn't very strong early, right? They then shifted it. I believe 3-2 was always the second one, and then for 4, the third one, it's now on 4-2 rather than 4-5, I believe it was prior. I think that makes it so that you actually hit it more frequently without being dead. There was many games that I'd hit the final trait and I would be at final augment and I'd be at like no health. And at that point it's already too late. And they give you a prismatic and your options were, you know, 2 scaling ones and then one that didn't work for your unit composition. And it's just like, well, I'm dead. I think a little earlier is beneficial. And I think you'll probably see some changes on this going forward. I know that was one thing they talked about in the devlog video, is that they were going to be tweaking augments and traits, etc., to try to continuously balance them and give you more potential. Gold is now the new normal, so you'll see more gold augments, which I think is a good thing. Gold, I think, is that middle ground of influential enough without being overpowered, like prismatics can be, and sometimes silvers just are unuseful. But I think the best thing they've done here is they added a reroll. So 1 time per game, you get to re-roll your augments, whether it be a prismatic, a gold, what have you. I think it helps a lot to make sure you actually get something you can utilize. I've been finding myself trying to save it for the 3rd augment or using it on the 1st augment if I get a really bad first roll, but we'll kind of see. Another big change they made was adding the treasure dragon. So basically on 4-7, I used to get a lot of dead items all the time. And now you're going to have a situation where you can re-roll your items on 4-7. There's no longer a battle. You just simply re-roll until you get what you want. I don't know if there's ever actually a limit. I've re-rolled like 10, 15 gold in game now in a single time and just taken whatever one worked. So I think you're kind of able to do as many as you want. This can be really nice if you're looking for a specific item to finish out your composition, or if you're just looking for something that entices you more. You really need tank items, you really need offensive items, whatever. You at least get to choose. I think that's a positive. And then going forward here, they've added a bunch of new and unique setups. I was having a lot of fun. Astral to me is more like Yordle. It's a composition that I felt like was kind of that reroll-y comp no matter what, because you gained value with reroll. Guild was kind of interesting in that you can kind of build any unit in different ways with it. I had a Twitch game where I built solely around the fact that Twitch gained a ton of attack speed. Rise games where you're looking at literally just AP. Talon's all AD, right? Bard's mana per attack, and the emblem gives you Omnivamp. So like you've got so much option there. Jade gives you summonable statues that give you, different varying levels of healing or attack speed. I've never messed with Jade yet just because it seems a little bit more complicated, but it seems like it has a really nice balance to it where you might be able to, find that sweet spot where Jade can carry you early. Mirage is literally mutant. Mirage is mutant from 6.5. It changes every game, and they now have a little icon, and I'll try to put a picture right here in the video where they have a little icon in game. When you hover over the icon, it actually tells you what your Mirage for the game is. So you don't no longer have to go and find it. It's just always available. Ragewing is kind of unique where you basically have a rage bar similar in game to like Tryndamere or what have you, and when you hit that rage bar maximum, you go into kind of a rage mode and you get ability power. The ability gives you attack speed and Omnivamp when you go through with it. It's kind of cool. It kind of creates a really interesting setup. There was a Xayah build I saw that was almost unkillable because the Xayah went absolutely nuts immediately and just shredded everyone's backline. So we'll see kind of how it's balanced. But as you can see here so far, a lot of high numbered traits. Revel is similar to Twin Shot. I would argue Revel and where is it? Oh, this is not a trait. It's another one. Anyway, Revel is similar to Twin Shot in the sense that you gain a damage with an ability like similar to Gangplank, I would argue. Like it feels like a Gangplank item, augment, setup. Scale scoring I haven't messed with, but basically if you don't build dragons, your team, it does more magic damage and magic resistance, I believe. Magic resistance from enemies with high health pools, which dragons do. Shimmer Scale gives you a unique item, similar to Radiant items. Shimmer Scale items, though, I've seen everything from give you more gold to give you attack power, give you AP, but it's not always guaranteed what you're going to get. So I've had it where I had two items, an item that was dead. I've had it where I had two items that were absolute god tier and I was able to carry with them. Tempest kind of creates a Zeus effect and lightning storms everyone, giving you higher attack speed. Trainer is kind of neat. Trainer similar to Innovator, I would argue. Trainer is basically Innovator, but in a different vein. Basically, you feed your Namsi every round, and it can get all the way to tier 4, star tier 4. And it's kind of neat. It allows you to go for a early game scaling composition with it, but it kind of falls off in the later game. But it utilizes Tristana and a lot of the Yordles, so Heim, Tristana, and Lulu. So it kind of creates this own like little Yordle-esque ability, right? A scaling comp with Yordle without anything too crazy. And Whisperers is basically just damaging shrinks the enemy and reduces their magic and armor resistance. It's neat. I haven't found a whole lot of compositions that can utilize it a lot yet. Those are the origins. Then there's the classes. You got your assassin. Bard is one. Bruiser still a thing. Cannoneer is really neat in the sense that it Cannoneer and what is it? The Cannoneer and Revel kind of combined together in a lot of compositions. Corki I found has been extremely strong when utilizing either of these compositional setups. But I don't know exactly how good it will be long term once people kind of figure out the setup for them. Cavalier, though, I know was in the game at one point. People were telling me in chat. Long story short, magic and armor resistance, and then they run at the enemy. There is an augment that makes it so you can have more than one dragon on the board at a time. Just a heads up. Really cool. I didn't know how to use it. Completely wasted it, but there is a lot of value in it if you know what you're doing. Anywho, you get +3 of the mark trait, requires 2 team slots, and you get 600 bonus health. Kind of simple. Dragonmancer gives you some similar scaling to Innovator, but it's more or less a single unit setup. It's kind of neat. I was able to make a Volley Bear that was massive, and then a Yasuo that was also massive. Kind of was neat. Evokers similar in, I guess, scope to an Enchanter setup in the sense that, like, or not Enchanter, a Scholar setup. But it's whenever an ability is cast, you gain mana. So if you have a high casting ability setup, you can kind of get a lot of mana really quickly. But I haven't found a comp where it works perfectly yet. I'm thinking maybe Aurelion Sol is your hyper carry in that sense, but how do you combine them? I'm not sure. Guardian is kind of similar to like a I don't know exactly how to describe Guardian. Excuse me. It's kind of like Bodyguard, kind of not. Basically, just gives them shield when you hit 50% health. Legend eats people, similar to Tom Kench. Kind of cool. Mage is Arcanist, a little different though. Mystic is Enchanter, but kind of different. Shapeshifter, basically midway through, similar to Gnar. Spell Thief, Zoe basically steals people's abilities throughout the game. Starcaller, the first Starcaller to cast their ability heals you. So it's not too crazy. I don't know how exactly you combine that with Jade. Swift Shot, similar to an attack speed bonus with Twin Shot or something like that. Very interesting. It's kind of a weird combination of like a sniper and Twin Shot. I found a couple really cool setups with like Zaya, Varus with Astral. But then I also utilized like Twitch with Swift Shot as a carry. Guild Swift Shot Twitch was kind of cool. Then Warrior created some really neat setups early game with Aatrox because he gets some healing. So he does really good damage combined with Shen or Yone. And he can kind of carry your early game compositions. I won't go through every individual champion because there's just too many, as well as items. If you want to look at any of them in particular, I will leave the list, again, the link to the website here below. There's going to be a ton of different options here as well. Like AFK seems really neat, but also dumb. Like there was a thing in Hearthstone Battlegrounds that was similar to AFK. Late game specialist, other things like that. Pandora's Bench is a new one that I thought was really cool. There was a couple here, like Living Forge. Every 10 rounds of player combats, you get an Ornn item, just every time. Then Crucial Pact, basically buying EXP costs health instead of gold. One of my chat members got all the way to, I think it was level 7 right away, but then they have like no health, right? And so you kind of have to play around with it. Think Fast is really cool, like shop refreshes constantly. And then you kind of have to just like spam click. It's kind of memey, but it's cool. There's a bunch of neat stuff though. I think they did a really good job of adding more variety. Then there's the showcases. Then there's this cheat sheet. I will try to leave the cheat sheet as its own dedicated thing. I'll probably actually post this on my Discord here. But yeah, it kind of is neat they did a really good job, I think, of adding some variety and adding some scaling with reroll compositional abilities. I had a couple games tonight where I was able to reroll my way into a Twitch guild win, and I also had games where I was basically just, every time I had enough gold, I dumped, would then rebuild my gold amount, and then I dump into level every time, and I was just constant level spamming, and I would win that way too. So I think they've done a really good job of keeping everything kind of interesting, exciting, different, right? And I'm excited kind of for continuing forward. If you have any questions on anything, let me know below, and I can try to go in more in depth. I try to do these like in Legion, where I just kind of go through, and everything that comes to mind I try to talk about. It may not be the most organized, it might not be the most informational in certain aspects, but I think I get more verbal vomit out there, and sometimes that's better. We talk about a lot of this stuff on stream as well, so if you guys are ever interested, hit me up on Twitch. My link will be in the description below. Otherwise, it's flight_TV. I'm live like literally every day on TFT right now. Drop by, say hey. I'm glad to answer questions there as well. Other than that, please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. If you like my content, make sure you watch every video all the way through. Try not to skip around. If you do skip around, just make sure you leave it running if you can on the points that you don't want to watch the rest of, what have you. It just helps a ton. Algorithmically, YouTube is kind of one of those deals. So I appreciate everyone for watching, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Peace out.